It's Monday, November 7, 2022. In the headlines, some of the island's industrial security guards are restive. Reignite the village is the theme for this year's National Parent Month. Regionally, Dominica's main opposition leader resigns and the Prime Minister calls a snap election. In sports, Jamaica Scorpions defeat Barbados Pride. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. November is being recognized as National Parent Month. During this month, the Ministry of Education and Youth will host activities that focus on the hallmark of parenting and what we can do to reduce the dysfunction and poor parenting practices displayed in society. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams spoke at the launch.
Throughout our history, families have created tribes, villages, and nations. It is a haven for safety, love, and security. The cornerstone, however, of every family are the individuals who comprise it. Chief among these individuals are the parents. This is the basis of this year's theme for National Parents Month, Reignite the Village.
It is an attempt to recognize parents who help to build right relationships with the children by affirming their worth and paying attention to all aspects of their lives, including the home-school relationship. As you know, the research supports it. Home-school partnerships are widely encouraged for the positive impact they have on students' motivation, engagement, behavior, plus academic and social outcomes.
The Education Minister says while parents should take an interest in their children's school life, schools also have a responsibility to keep parents informed about their activities and policies.
The schools also have a responsibility to include parents in key decision-making processes. And you may have heard me sometimes on platforms encouraging parents to be part of the Parent-Teachers Association at their schools, and where it doesn't exist, to begin to revive that Parent-Teacher Association. Is the avenue through which our parents can bring their issues to schools and get them resolved.
Chief Executive Officer of Proven Investments Limited, Christopher Williams, in giving keynote address, highlighted the importance of the nation as a whole placing greater emphasis on education. He notes the basis of a child acquiring a solid education stems from the home and urges parents to tap into the village mentality.
And I love it. This is the time we want to live in. We want to go down fighting. What else we live what they were there for? Just for party and relax and enjoy life? No, I could do some work. Do some work. Help some picnic. Make them better.
CEO of the National Parenting Commission, Casey Akar, is also reiterating the importance of the home-school relationship.
It seems that many parents, due to a lack of capacity and what we're seeing now, high levels of apathy, believe that the responsibility of child development resides solely with the school. And this is why we have the theme, Reignite the Village, supported by the pillars, Know Your Village, supported by Pillar 2, acknowledge the strengths of the village, and Pillar 3, let's try to create a new way of life.
Research has shown that children perform better academically, respectfully, and amicably when they are raised in families that demonstrate good parenting skills. Throughout the month, several activities are hosted for parents. These include concerts, parents' award ceremonies, seminars, workshops, and fairs. For PBCJ News, I'm Carla Thomas Hewitt.
Some of the island's industrial security guards are restive. PBCJ understands that the employees are upset over the delay in their employment status regularized, moving from independent contractor to employee. In September, in a case brought against security firm Marksman, the Supreme Court ruled that the security guards were not independent contractors, but were indeed employees of the company. Since the ruling, security guards have been waiting for the upgrade in their positions to take effect. Lieutenant Commander George Overton, president of the Jamaica Society for Industrial Security, says discussions are underway for the transition to take place. While acknowledging the merit of the security guards' case, Commander Overton is urging them to be patient as the process of transition continues. Issues surrounding gender equality are still urgently in need of recognition and evolution globally as well as in Jamaica. Against that background, the Canadian government has partnered with the government of Jamaica to see to it that gender equality keeps evolving and is maintained for Jamaican citizens. $4 million in grant funding has been given to the Gender Ministry to aid its work. The money was handed over recently. Maya Chung has more.
Community organizations promoting gender equality and general empowerment programs are to benefit from a grant valued at Canadian $4 million. This is being facilitated under the Gender Equality Programming Initiative, which was launched at the St. Andrew residence of Canada's High Commissioner to Jamaica, Her Excellency Emina Tudakovich. The initiative, being coordinated through the Canadian High Commission in Jamaica, aims to enhance sexual and reproductive health and human rights for adolescent girls and boys, as well as vulnerable persons. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, who spoke at the launch, welcomed the program, citing it as timely and relevant. The minister said the Canadian High Commission in Jamaica has been one of the key stakeholders collaborating with the government to end gender-based violence. She added that the Canadian government, in tandem with the government of Jamaica, have both been relentless in the pursuit of equality, which ties into Vision 2030 Jamaica. Among the anticipated outcomes under the program, which will run for 5 years, are changes in social norms and behaviors and the fostering of attitudes against violence.
Bob Marley and the Wailers' keyboardist Tyrone Downie is dead. He died in Kingston on Sunday at the age of 66. His passing was announced on the band's official Facebook page. They stated, quote, "When you hear the keys on Three Little Birds and many other hits, you should always think of Tyrone." The Wailers and friends would like to offer our heartfelt condolences to Tyrone's family. Rest in power, Tyrone. End quote. Tyrone was from the Coburn Gardens area in Kingston and attended Kingston College, where his prodigious talent was first spotted by Douglas Forrest, head of the school's music department. It was while at KC that he played his first recording session on Eric Donaldson's Cherry-O Baby, which won the 1971 Festival Song Competition. Tommy Cohen produced Cherry-O Baby and took Downie on that session, which took place at Dynamic Sounds. He played on every Marley studio album after Live, including Rastaman Vibration, Exodus, and Kaya. He remained a member of the Wailers following Marley's death in 1981, touring Europe and the United States. Time now for our final episode of the special series on young bosses. Danita Rodney has that story. She's at the business desk. She'll have other market updates as well. Danita?
Step with me into the world of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This week's young boss is Cavell Hilton, CEO of STEM Builders Learning Hub, Jamaica's first online tutoring marketplace connecting children of all ages to tutors in STEM subjects.
Hi, I'm Cavell Hilton, CEO and founder of STEM Builders Learning Hub, Jamaica's first online learning platform that is dedicated to STEM skills development. So STEM Builders Learning Hub is an online, and now we have an on-site platform, so persons can come and visit us at shop number 12, Pond Rock Plaza, Helsha Main Road. So that's where you can basically come to do your SBAs, you can come to do hands-on science experiments, or even face-to-face classes. So when we started out, we were actually mostly online, and that worked with the climate because, it was COVID. And so we were actually one of the first EdTech organizations to actually start offering online learning to students. So I taught at the Alpha Convent of Mercy Academy for over 7 years. And I definitely think that is one of the best decisions I ever made, because I really enjoyed working with those young ladies and inspiring them. And they will tell you even now that I continue to do so even outside of the classroom. And that's one of the reasons why I actually stopped teaching at Alpha, not because I wanted to come out of the classroom necessarily or come out of science education, but because I wanted a larger platform so that I could impact more students and more schools. So I started working at the Scientific Research Council as a coordinator for the Science and Technology Education Unit, where we reached schools across the island. And from there, all of that experience actually just helped me to come up with a solution to a problem that I felt that was constant in the Jamaican education system, and that is a lack of access to quality science, technology, engineering, and math resources and teachers. Great question. So my business is unique because we don't just offer the theory online like a lot of EdTech organizations are doing, no. But we offer an opportunity for students to get that hands-on experience through our science kits or physically coming to our location to do those science experiments. We make learning fun, we make it practical, we use project-based learning and real problem solving. So for me, when I'm interacting with my students, I'm getting them to start thinking critically from as early as 3 years old, right? So that's unique about us. And we also offer that science kit that allows students to learn wherever they are, so they can still get that practical experience. It's one of the first science kits that are locally made, using resources that are here in Jamaica, and that is tailored to our local curriculum. It has been positive. Like now we recently launched our Little Einsteins program. I wrote a children's book. Yes, so we've been doing big things this year. I wrote a children's book called Little Einstein Save the Beach. And it highlights some of the issues that we have with environmental pollution, as well as offer that problem solving where students can actually carry out experiments to try to figure out how they can be a part of that conversation in terms of solving global challenges. So my future plans for STEM Builders is for STEM Builders to not just be located in Greater Portmore or in Portmore, but for STEM Builders, like a STEM Builder location, to be located across the island, and for STEM Builder science kits to be offered to students across the region, and our approach to STEM education be something that is adapted in different schools. So I'm hoping that in a few years that we'll be able to do more teacher training programs, that will be able to assist more schools to really spread this message and this vision, and to really achieve that transformation that we're looking for in the education system.
For your market updates, in foreign exchange trading for Friday, November 4, the US dollar sold for an average of $154.60. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $113.43. The pound sterling traded for $173.16, and the euro sold for $154.25. In JSE trading, the JSE index advanced by 4,247 points. The junior market index declined by 5 points. The combined market index advanced by 3,917 points. And the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 3,654 points.
Overall market activity resulted from trading in 107 stocks, of which 55 advanced, 37 declined, and 15 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Verbal Preference, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Trading firm were Community and Workers of Jamaica CCU Deferred Share, Consolidated Bakers Jamaica Limited, and Dollar Financial Services Limited. The overall volume leaders were G West Corporation Limited Ordinary Shares with over 20 million units, Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 5 million units, and JFP Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Coleco Investment Fund was the volume leader with over 5,000 shares, followed by Calypso Macro Index Fund with a volume of 197 shares being traded. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund was the volume leader with 7,000 shares. They were followed by Goddard Enterprises Limited, which traded over 2,000 shares, and First Caribbean International Bank with over 1,000 shares. In market data for oil prices slipped on demand concerns linked to China's COVID containment policy, but remained close to $100 a barrel on support from a weaker dollar and recovering Chinese crude imports. Brent crude futures fell 39 cents to $98.18 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude fell by 47 cents to $92.14. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, the people of Dominica will go to the polls to elect a new government on December 6. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement of a snap general election on Sunday night. In a radio and television broadcast, Mr. Skerrit, who led the governing Dominica Labour Party, DLP, to victory in the last election in 2019, said that nomination day will be November 18.
You have given me a mandate that constitutionally allows me to remain in office as your Prime Minister until April 2025. I do not intend to go beyond that date. I have run my race, and I intend to finish the course, with Dominica safely back on a road of sustained progress and prosperity. That is why I am calling for a national reset.
In the last general election, the DLP won 18 of the 21 seats, with the remainder going to the main opposition United Workers' Party, UWP. Lennox Linton, the leader of the UWP, resigned from the position last month. Roosevelt Skerrit has been Prime Minister of Dominica since 2004. In Trinidad and Tobago, public servants will have to wait a bit longer for wage negotiations to be settled, as the 5 trade unions representing them are all set to appear before the Industrial Court. The matter was referred to the court's tribunal by the Finance Minister. However, they call the decision premature and will be seeking to go back to the negotiating table. Chester Sambriano has this story.
As he wound up the budget debate, Finance Minister Colm Imbert revealed that 4 wage negotiations had been referred to the Special Tribunal of the Industrial Court for determination. Teachers, police, prison and fire officers, and later public servants were added to the list for rejecting government's 4% offer. On Monday, they are all set to have their first day in court. But the problem is, they don't want it.
So it is the intention of the PSA to, when we go before the court, to say to the court, I don't know why we are down here. From our perspective, this is premature.
But he says his association would be pushing for conciliation talks instead. In fact, that's the general consensus of all associations. The newly elected tutor president makes it clear what their approach would be.
Our approach would be, we will make the appearance, and we will argue for the conciliation.
Lumpkin says Tutor was quite surprised by the finance minister's announcement regarding the tribunal.
The CPO made an offer, we made a counter offer, and we were hoping that Although the CPO said that that was the final offer, we were hopeful that we would have been able to get the opportunity to, to bargain even further.
Prison officers share the same view and are now shocked to be heading to court after just 4 meetings with the chief personnel officer.
If we are given the opportunity to speak on that day, we will be asking to go back around the table.
As it relates to the police, their legal advice is that conciliation has to be done first, so they are set to take that route. And while there, they plan to make a case not only for more than 4%, but for a COVID payment similar to the one received by medical professionals.
In Barbados, the resilience of nurses has been clearly demonstrated during the pandemic. And new Minister of Health and Wellness, Senator Dr. the Most Honorable Jerome Walcott, in addressing nurses graduating from the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus on Friday, said the fact that they were furthering their careers, treating patients and still managing their families while on the front line showed their value.
It was the Faculty of Medical Sciences nursing pinning for the first cohort of trained specialty nurses having graduated from the University of the West Indies. Minister of Health, Senator Dr. the Most Honorable Jerome Walcott, congratulated both UWI, the Barbados Community College, and the graduates because their efforts not only redound to the benefit of their personal and professional development, but also the country.
Amazingly, these nurses have all successfully completed their various programs while we were experiencing the impact of COVID-19. So this afternoon, the team Excellence in Nursing aptly recognizes the hard work and determination of these graduates to successfully complete their studies in the midst of personal and professional challenges associated with this pandemic, where many of them continue to serve as frontline workers while seeking to meet their various program assignments and objectives.
Coordinator of the program, Dr. Wendy Seeley, said the journey was not easy for them, as work obligations still had to be met alongside the studies.
Since the MSN program is self-financed, there's also the added burden of tuition fees, which may have created further issues as the students sought to manage their finances to stay on course with their studies.
There were 14 postgraduate diploma graduates in pediatric nursing, 1 Master of Sciences in Nursing Education specialization from 2020 to 2022, and 5 Master of Science in Nursing for 2018 to 2020.
St. Kitts and Nevis has once again called on the United States of America to remove the decades-old economic, commercial, and financial embargo against Cuba. That call came in the maiden address of the St. Kitts and Nevis permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Nerys Dockery, on Thursday during the UN General Assembly, the 26th plenary meeting.
St. Kitts and Nevis finds it regrettable that several reversals were made since that brief period of détente, and the blockade is still a reality for the Cuban people, and it denounces the imposition of unilateral coercive measures against a sovereign state. This unjust embargo drives a stake through the heart of international law, makes a mockery of the principles of sovereignty and non-intervention that governs interstate relations, which are protected by the United Nations Charter, and severely impedes Cuba's ability to fully engage the international community to adequately provide basic public services for its people and thereby its aspirations for meeting the Sustainable Development Goals.
She described the embargo as an extreme burden on the development, well-being and stability of the people of Cuba and the entire Caribbean. She stressed the contributions Cuba has made to the development of public health in the region through its benevolence and medical innovations.
In international news, UN Chief Antonio Guterres is warning that the planet is sending a distress signal. This as the United Nations report states that the past 8 years are on track to be the hottest ever recorded.
The seas have never been this high. The planet has never been this warm.
Distinguished delegates.
For 2 weeks, representatives from nearly 200 countries will hold talks in Egypt, on a continent already ravaged by severe drought and food shortages. The annual UN Summit is focused on global climate action and how to pay for it.
Every COP is a make or break COP. Every COP counts, and every COP should move us one step closer or multiple steps closer to that target of halving emissions by 2030.
Natural disasters are expensive, costing billions of dollars. Developing countries are some of the hardest hit by climate change, and they rely on assistance during heat waves, droughts, and devastating floods, like what we saw in Pakistan earlier this year.
Developing countries are to continue to invest in the climate action that they need to take in the long term and the short term. They need to see those funds flow from the developed countries who have greater historical responsibility for the causes of climate change.
Some say these summits are not helpful and take too long to reach decisions that impact billions of people and are only decided by the world's elite.
What do we want? When do we want it?
On Friday, hundreds of climate activists blocked the departure of private jets at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport to protest against the pollution caused by the aviation industry. However, some progress has been made.
Good news is that 15 countries have been able to reduce their emissions during the past 15 years. It's mostly European countries, Japan, United States, Singapore, and we have also much better technological means to be successful in climate mitigation. The prices of solar and wind energy have been dropping.
Hello! Expectations are high for this climate summit, but after a year of unprecedented natural disasters, action may come too late for some.
In sports, Jamaica Scorpions produced an all-round performance to defeat Barbados Pride by a massive 64 runs in Group B of the CG Super 50 Cup tournament Thursday night in Antigua. The Scorpions scored a competitive 277 for 6 off their 50 overs at the Viv Richards Stadium. Captain and player of the match, Rovman Powell, top scored with 80 off 54. In reply, the Pride were bowled out for 213 in 44.1 overs. Captain Shai Hope top scored with 86 inclusive of 7 fours and a 6, and Roston Chase got 57. Nicholas Gordon took 3 for 21, while there were 2 wickets apiece for Jiva Royal and Dean Smith, as well as Dennis Bulai. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Remember, we are the People's Station.